All right, so I want to take you back to when you're a freshman, when you first arriving at Battle Creek Central. I want you to tell me about the kind of emotions that you remember feeling back then.
Like football-wise, or just everything?
Football-wise, school-wise, everything. Like what were you feeling?
Well, football, I didn't really know how to feel. I was like, I know I wanted to play on varsity eventually one day, but I didn't quite see college. Like, it just wasn't in my vision. Or school it wasn't that big of a priority to me.
Mm-hmm.
But like, just never really let myself slip bad, but just wasn't like a priority where it needed to be in my head, like getting good grades, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Has anybody in your family gone to college?
My grandmother went after she was like 40, but my brother and my mom, no.
So you start high school, you know you want to be a football player, you're excited about playing at Battle Creek Central, but at that moment, that's that.
Yes. Back then, my focus was scoring touchdowns on freshmen, me trying to be sweet on freshmen.
Did you see yourself as a good football player?
At the time, I knew I could be better, but I feel like I had a lot of work to do. Because, like, right before the season, we had the little combine. Everybody was running 40 times. I was the slowest. We came and lift. I wasn't stronger than nobody. It was a little disappointing. Kind of motivated me a little bit, though.
So what positions did you want to play when you first started? What were you hoping to be?
Wide receiver in the corner.
A wide receiver in a corner. And what are you now?
A defense end, tight end, little receiver.
So you start out freshman year, school starts. Was school easy? Was it hard? How did you feel about your classes?
I was just excited to see everybody, freshman year, Northwestern, Springfield. You get to see all your friends from elementary school that you ain't seen in a couple years. Meet new people, see everybody. It was just exciting. It was easy to just talk to everybody, see everybody. It was fun being around everybody.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember who any of your teachers were?
Yeah, I remember all of them.
Who was your favorite teacher?
Miss Neal.
Miss Neal was?
Miss Neal.
And what did she teach?
Spanish.
Spanish?
Yeah.
Did you feel like your classes were easy?
Yeah, except for algebra. Algebra tore me up.
Yeah, that was your hardest class?
Yeah, and plus, I didn't really come to it. I didn't really have a way to get to school. I didn't live in the area, so.
Where did you live?
I lived in the Arborist, which is by the mall. So it was kind of hard for me to get to school. I actually sent the truancy letter home. So.
You were missing a lot of school?
Yeah, I was missing like first hour a lot. That was algebra, so I felt that my freshman year.
You failed algebra first hour your freshman. Did you fail any other classes your freshman year?
I don't believe so. I think I failed algebra the second semester, which is still my first hour.
Okay. How did you do in your other classes? What were your grades?
That was pretty decent, but they could have been a lot better. Like C, D's, a couple B's. I didn't really have no A's. I was never going above and beyond my freshman year.
So you said you didn't live close to here. Who did you live with?
I lived with my mom at the time.
With your mom?
Yeah.
And then you don't live with your mom anymore?
No.
Who do you live with now?
My grandmother.
Mm-hmm. Is that your mom's mom?
Yeah.
And then where's your dad?
I don't know him. Never seen him.
You've never seen him?
Never. I don't even know what he looked like. I don't even know his name.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, like, sometimes I sit there and wonder, like, dang, I do got a father out there somewhere. Like, I see everything that I see in my mom and me is the same, but then there's so much other stuff that's just like, where did this come from? Like, I do wish I could meet him though, so I don't know, I just feel like I just want to meet him.
Okay, so freshman year is pretty good. You had a lot of fun. Grades weren't the best, but not terrible. You failed one class, you say. How was sophomore year?
Sophomore year is when I would smack myself.
Why do you say that?
I did the opposite of what I was supposed to do. like as far as in the school. Like I started taking football more seriously, but it seemed like the more serious I took football, I just didn't care about school still. I'm in there, well, not necessarily just bad behavior, just not turning work in, talking all the time, just wanting to be the class clown, stuff like that. And then I think I had 2 or 3 E's my sophomore year.
So your grades started to suffer your sophomore year.
Yeah.
So you thought your grades were pretty good freshman year, but they not so good your sophomore year.
Yeah, my sophomore year, that was unacceptable.
So football became very important to you that year, though, right?
At the end of my sophomore year.
At the end of your sophomore year?
Season.
Okay.
When I got a taste of varsity, that's when I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do.
So what was your opinion about how important grades were to football? What was your thought there? Like,
my mindset was, don't be on the eligibility list. Don't have no E's. But my mindset wasn't, I need all A's or all B's. So, like, I didn't even know what a GPA, like, I probably did, but I wasn't worried about my GPA back then. Like, if you'd have told me my GPA, I probably would have made a joke about it or laughed about it and just kept doing the same thing. But it just wasn't my focus back then.
so you just wanted to make sure you weren't on the eligibility list.
Yeah, I was just bare minimum, just skating by, if not failing. Like during football season, it's the beginning of the year, so it's not really too much to fail. And then basketball kept me out of it a little bit. But after basketball, it was nothing holding me up. Like football and basketball, if you got bad grades, you can't play. So I'm like, all right, I at least need to get a D so I can play. But my mind should have been none of that acceptable.
So at some point you got that realization that your grades might potentially hurt you with regards to opportunities in sport, whether it be football or basketball, right? So
Yeah.
when did that click? When did you get that message?
I got the message once I started seeing my junior year, once I started seeing people actually go to college that I know and have seen for a long time, like Mookie and all them. Once I seen them, like it was real, all them make it out to college, and then like that's really when I realized, like, dang, it's not that far away. Like it's possible. All you gotta do is get your grades together, stop fooling around.
So Mookie, Josh, Jermaine,
Ryan.
and that was just, I mean, that was just last.
Yeah.
We're talking about basically 10 months ago, right?
Yeah.
So that's when it finally started to
That's
click
when
for
it
you.
really hit me, like, you need to get your stuff together now.
So by then, your junior year is almost over,
Yeah.
right? So what were your grades looking at the time?
I failed one class, but my grades weren't bad necessarily. About average C range. I failed English.
So when was the first time, you mentioned GPA earlier, when was the first time that you started paying attention to your GPA?
My junior year.
Your junior, right about that same time? Or
Yeah.
before that or after?
Probably around like the semester of my junior year, like the second semester.
Mm-hmm.
Like after the first semester hit, grades dropped, and then that's when I started hearing about college. I mean, when I was little, I heard college, but like I didn't know no colleges. All I knew was KCC. I mean, like my mom, I never heard her really stress college like that. She told me I gotta go, but like I'm thinking, all right, that's so far away. That's where my mindset was.
So when you finally started paying attention, what was your GPA?
1.7.
1.7, which is the equivalent of what?
Like below a D.
So the average that you were cranking out grade-wise was D's, which
Yeah.
was just enough not to be on the eligibility report. So you met your goal.
Yeah, back then, yeah.
You find out your GPA is a 1.7. Did you know what it needed to be if you wanted to go to college at that moment?
Like, I seen like posters on the wall, like Michigan State, University of Michigan, GPA requirement, like 2.5, 2.6, stuff like that. I'm like, that's when I really started realizing, like, Michigan State was always my favorite college ever. And I looked and it said minimum GPA requirement 2.5, and I was like, what does that mean? And then I ain't know no college advisor or nothing. I'm asking friends, like, what does that mean? I was like, that's what all your grades combined is. I'm like, I wonder what mine is. And I looked, and that's when I found out it was lower than 2.6. That's when I'm like, dang, I gotta start. I gotta do something.
But by then, it's second semester, your junior year. How much time did you have to really affect the grades that you had, that you were in, the classes you were in that moment?
Not really none, except for when I was in there every day.
So maybe a couple of months before those grades were going to get posted, and then whatever you got was going to affect your GPA, and you knew it.
Yeah.
So at that moment, did you say, I need to try and scramble around and try to get all A's or B's, or what was your game plan? What did you think?
Like when I first found out that my GPA was like low, like a D average, it hurt, cause like I started sports a little late, but I loved it. Like it seemed like that's all I know what to do now. It's just sports. So when I found out my GPA was low, it's like, dang, might as well, like, what's the point? Like, why even? And I felt like just stupid. But I talked to some people, and they got my head back around, like, no, it's a chance. You just gotta do it now and go hard in class, just as hard as you go in the weight room or on the field.
So that's the end of your junior year. So you go to your senior year. Let's talk about football season. How do you think your senior football season went?
Me personally, I'm not really mad at how my senior year went. I feel like it should have went. We should have won a couple more games, but I learned a lot. Like, I appreciate it, and I'm thankful for it because it taught me a lot about life and about football. And I've been doing it with my brothers since freshman year. We just have fun, went out with a bang, I guess.
Okay. So, as an individual player, did you feel like you had a great year?
I feel like I had a pretty good year, yeah. Mm-hmm. I kind of shocked myself a little bit because, this is my first year playing defensive end on varsity. Well, no, my fault. Like, last year I played defensive end. It was a little rough. Wasn't really strong. Wasn't really fast like that.
But you got some accolades last year as a junior, right? I mean, you were recognized a little bit, right?
Yeah.
You were at least had some all-conference recognition, right, as a defensive end?
Yeah.
So you're a pretty good football player as a junior. Sometime after that, it hits you that your grades might not be good enough to move to the next level if you choose to. Fast forward to your senior year, okay?
How do I feel my season went?
Did you have a great year? Are you a college football player?
Oh, yeah. I believe so, yeah.
You think your talent level is high enough that you could play college football?
Yes, sir.
And if you had your choice of where you could go to play football, where would that be?
I'll probably go to Michigan State or University of Michigan. Somewhere Ohio State, somewhere big like that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I can compete at that level.
At this moment, seniors are pretty much just a few weeks away from early signing day. Have any of those schools offered you an opportunity to do that?
No, sir.
They haven't? Mm-hmm. So you feel like you might be good enough to compete athletically, but why are they not paying attention to you?
Because it don't matter what time is, how many tackles I had, what I can do on the field. It's like if they see my GPA, they probably just gonna go on to the next person. And that's what's holding me back, my grades in the school.
Because you have to get into school still, right? Because, at the end of the day, anybody can play football at the University of Michigan, but they have to be able to get into school, right? So at this moment, you can't get in. Is that right?
Yeah.
So you mentioned Keandre, Josh, some of those guys from last year, and I watch you, the guys that you surround yourself with in your free time, and I see from last year and this year, the majority of the people that you spend the most of your time with do have offers to play college football. How does that make you feel?
I feel like it's a feeling of disappointment, but at the same time, like, I did it to myself. Like, I can't be mad at nobody, can't be disappointed in nobody but myself. Like, But also, like seeing them like do that stuff, like it's motivation at the same time. Every time one of my bros get an offer, I'm excited for them, and it's making me go want to do some extra work just so I can get to that level.
So that's pretty great. You have a lot of happiness and pride for your friends, you're saying, right? So
Yeah, for sure.
do you feel any sadness for yourself?
I mean, yeah, a little bit, cause I mean, I feel like I shouldn't be worried about what I'm worried about right now. I feel like I should be just trying to finish out my senior year, ready to go on to college, knowing I'm going to college instead of worrying, am I going to college, right? If I'm going to put on a uniform and a helmet next year.
So you mentioned earlier that if you could go back to your sophomore year, you'd slap yourself.
Yeah.
What would you say to yourself if you could go back to that year?
I would say, forget all the talking, all the playing around. That stuff gonna be there for life. Get your school done so you can go to college and take care of your loved ones. That's what I said to myself.
These guys that are your best friends who are planning to go play college football, who do have the grades, if you could go back to your sophomore year, do you wish your friends would have slapped you?
Yeah.
How would you have received it if they would have came to you and said, Tylenn, you're too special of a football player to be dragging your grades like as D's? How would you have reacted back then, do you think?
I feel like even back then I would have only had one response. You're right. Are you trying to help me? Like, how could I get mad or feel some type of way about you saying that? Only thing that can come out of that is me working hard. Well, I mean, I'm sure people probably did, but like, I was just too busy wanting to be funny, wanting to be the one joking around, talking in class, not turning in work.
So it's December of your senior year. Are you going to go to college?
Yeah.
Where will you go?
I don't know.
So do you not know because you just haven't made a decision yet, or do you not know because you don't even know what your options are?
I don't know because I don't know what my options are.
And how does that feel?
It feels terrible. Especially seeing everybody else getting multiple decisions where they could go, picking where they can go, schools, knowing their name, knowing everything about them, coming to see them. It made me feel like, it just made me want to go work. Made me do want to go back in time and talk to myself.
So what do you do now? I mean, you have 6 months left till graduation. What is your game plan? What do you do?
My game plan is to get all A's, finish out the senior year strong as possible. So get my GPA up so I can go to college and play some ball.
If football is not an option for you, and I don't know, but if it's not, will you still go to college?
Yes, sir. My plan is to go to college, regardless of football or not, or if it's a community college or not. My plan is to go to college. If I can, I want to play football.
So you're allowed to go to KCC for free because you graduated from Battle Creek Central, right? Is that an option for you?
Yeah, if that's what it got to be.
You would do that?
Yeah.
So if you do that for a year or two or whatever, and your grades are good there, do you think you might be able to have an option to play football after that?
Yeah, I honestly was thinking about that. Or going to a JUCO for a couple of years with a good GPA and transferring out somewhere.
So college is important to you. What if college didn't work? What if you chose not to go to college? What would you do?
What do you mean?
What would you do? Would you
I
get a
would.
job? Where would you live? Would you go find a girl? What would you do?
If I didn't go to college, I would uh, get a job and live with somebody else, like probably my grandma still. But get a job, try to save up some money for an apartment, and then just keep working.
So it sounds like you don't really know, huh? Like
No.
don't really know exactly what you would do. So that makes it very important that you get to college, right? Because that is your game plan. So you're in a situation now where you almost have to make it. You almost have to, you said, finish with all A's so that your GPA can be high enough to get admitted to a college. Do you think you can do that?
I honestly do, yeah.
So all this time, it's really not been an issue of being smart enough. It's just been having the realization that it was important.
Yeah, and being willing to just go in the classroom, stop talking, do my work, and talk when I'm supposed to talk.
So you mentioned earlier, your freshman year, you had an attendance problem. Has attendance ever been a problem any other years?
No, not really.
So how important would you say attendance is to being able to pass your classes?
It's very important because, I mean, if you're not there, you're not getting a lesson plan, you're not getting no work, and, like, you're not getting nothing. And you're missing out on the whole lesson. Even if you get the papers, you're still going to miss out instruction on the papers. Like, just being there is half of it.
So, as your coach, your GPA is a 1.75. You mentioned earlier the Michigan State poster. So the minimum GPA that you have to be qualified for the NCAA is either 2.3 or 2.2, depending on if you won Division I, Division II. Is it possible for you to get to that? Do you know?
I don't.
So, and I know for sure that there's been several Division I and II coaches who have come in and asked about Tylenn Hall, but as soon as they see your transcript, I mean, it's almost conversation over. And you're aware of that? You knew that? Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
How does that make you feel?
Like a dummy. Made me feel. Made me feel like everybody else that say I should have, I could have, in a way. But I haven't gave up on myself yet.
So how important is this to you? I mean, your grandma went to college. You said you thought your grandma went to college, right?
Yeah, she went to college later.
And you mentioned earlier that the whole reason you want to go is so that you can take care of your people. Who are you talking about?
Mom, brother, grandma, auntie, family, the ones that I struggle with.
And why do you want to take care of all of them so bad?
Because we didn't been down to the floor. We didn't struggle. We didn't all struggle together. Watching my mom struggle, grandma, like, I just want to make a way out for them. Even if it's not making it to the league, I just don't want to have to live off Social Security. But, like, I just want to be in a better predicament.
What are some of the struggles that you've seen?
Like, not having a home, not having no place to go, like, not having no food, not having no heat, water, not having shoes, holes in the bottom of your shoes while it's middle of winter, like, not having no coat, going through winters with just a little jacket, like, stuff like that. I don't want my kids to go through that, and nobody else.
You lived through all that?
Yeah. I didn't live through all that.
And you see college as a way that you could at least get an education to earn a living to provide for those people.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned your kids.
Or like, even if I'm not saying I'm gonna be a millionaire when I touch college, but there's one less thing my mom or grandma got to worry about. They don't got to worry about making sure Ty got, like, they gonna know I'm good. Like, they still gonna supply, but I'm gonna be working soon, making money.
And you want to have kids? How many kids do you want to have?
I don't know, I'm looking at 2, 3.
2 or 3?
I'll say 2.
So you mentioned that you've never even met your dad.
No.
What kind of dad do you want to be?
I want to be that dad that a child just know, like, if something going bad, they can just come to dad and, like, just feel safe. Know that I love them, that I'm always gonna be there for them and want the best for them. But
Football ends for all of us at some point. Some of us stop playing after high school. Some of us play through college. Some of us do make it to the league, but not very many. So once it's over, what do you want to be?
coach, I want to coach football because I gotta feel that that's the closest way I'm gonna stay connected to the game is coaching. And plus, I know a lot. I know, like, pretty decent amount. The game, I'm gonna learn more, but I just got a love for the game. So I feel like coaching to help. Like when we did the Junior Bearcats camp, that was real fun. Like, and plus, I'm good with working with people.
Is there any other kind of career that you've thought about other than coaching?
No, I'm not too sure what I want to do. Coaching was really the only thing that I felt low-key right, because it's like so interactive with the players. It's not sitting down at a desk or standing up at a factory all day.
Mm-hmm. So if you were to get into college, what do you know what you would want to study?
No, that's it.
So one thing that you have had to do for the last couple of summers is take summer school classes because of the classes that you failed during school. So you took and you passed those.
Mm.
How do those classes affect your GPA? Do you know?
They don't. I mean, I get the credit, but my GPA doesn't move.
So even if you take 6 summer school classes and pass them all, it doesn't raise your GPA at all.
No.
So earlier you said, I should have, I could have. So one of my sayings is, you know, I should, before you know it, you should all over yourself. So talk about, instead of using words like should, could, can't, use words like I am, I can, I will. So I guess like this, so repeat this. So I am aware of my situation.
I am aware of my situation.
I know I can fix it,
I know I can fix it,
and I will.
and I will.
When you use words like, I know I should be a college football prospect, and I could be if my grades were good enough, but since they are, I can't play. That creates a lot of pressure. That's where pressure comes from, using words like that. When you say things like, I am, I can, and I will, those are empowering words, right? You give yourself some sort of a sense of hope, so to speak, that I know what I gotta do, I know I can do it, and I'm gonna do it. No pressure.
Yeah.